This is Meca Boss Built Bennett, just coming at you real quick. So one of the topics that we're going to discuss is being sorry and saying and apologizing, either being the apologetic one or even receiving an apology. So many times something happens with somebody we care about, and if you are of any good age, you've had to apologize for something, or you have apologized for something. Maybe you did something wrong, or you said something, or whatever the reason is, you've said sorry or my apologies or something. And what happened was she had said I'm sorry to someone, and she expected them to be apologetic back. And so one thing I wanted to make it, I guess I want to say clear, or what I feel like there should be ground rules, and I think that when we are younger, we don't have them. I am a person, and I don't know if I'm not even talking right or wrong. I'm just speaking how I feel. I do not apologize if I don't feel sorry. I don't do it because I feel like that's false. When you apologize, when you say I'm sorry, or even when you accept the apology, it should mean that you are either genuinely sorry that thing that happened, whatever it was a mistake of some sort, and you don't plan on doing it again, or that won't happen again. You don't apologize just to make somebody else feel good, or just to make yourself feel good, like, oh well, I said sorry. Like that's something that people do. And what happens is, if you are the apology, you're apologizing, you're saying you're sorry. There's a lot of times when people apologize and they're not really sorry. They just want to close it up. They want to stop or finish whatever it is that happened. And if there is, there's a lot of different reasons and a lot of different ways where I'm sorry works. And so it's not to say that to never say sorry or to remove that word, but for me, if I'm sorry, if I'm like, okay, I'm sorry about this, it is because I did it, I thought about it, I didn't mean to do it, and we have either discussed it, or some other type of dialect or dialogue has happened where I am sure that I won't be doing it again, and I didn't mean what it is that I said. Now, I know some of us have really, I want to say vulgar mouths, but we say what we mean, we speak it. And a lot of times that happens when we are in arguments or when we're beefing. And I think the issue with that is we say things that we mean but don't mean. So we meant it, I mean that you're being an asshole, or I mean that, you suck, or whatever it is that we say, we mean it, but maybe we didn't mean for it to come across that way. So also, I will always say, being mindful of, even when you're in a bad mood, or when you're in an argument, or when you're going through things, your words matter. And so your words matter in good situations and in bad. Your words matter when you're patching up things, and they matter when, you're trying to smooth it over. You have to be able and willing to understand that your words hold value. They hold weight. There's an energy that is attached to the things that you say, both good and bad. When you apologize, there's an energy that's attached to it. There's an energy of finalization and completion. And so anyway, she apologized. There was an argument that ensued, and there was an apology given by someone, and there was never a conversation. And so when they spoke to me about it, I was like, there should have been a conversation. There should have been a conversation, because you don't say things. I'm not gonna, if I say to you, I hate you, you make me sick, and it's like somebody of importance, there's a reason why I said that. You don't just use words like that. And so apologizing just to get rid of it, that issue, whatever that underlying issue is still gonna be there. So now, a lot of times apologies removes the conversation that should happen. You are supposed to be healed because you apologized, and they're supposed to be healed because they accepted it. And so it's like kind of when you argue with your mate. Y'all say a lot of things. One of you did something, or both of you did something. And then, he comes or she comes and says, I'm sorry, I apologize. And you go, okay. no problem, I accept it. But you don't really accept it. You're still hurting. You're still sad or mad or, confused. And that apology more so removes them taking what I consider as ownership. They apologize, you accept it, or I apologize and they accept it. And then however long later, because I don't like to put time frames. I feel like, let's say a month later, I'm trying to give it a long time span, whatever a long time span for you, it happens again, whatever it is. So now you're back to where you were. Mainly because, one, there was no conversation that happened. To make sure that never happens again. I mean, they're going to say, I'm not going to do it again. But there's a reason why we do things. I don't think that anyone, whether it's lying, cheating, even stealing, fighting, none of those things, nothing that we do, no main physical activity, mental activity happens for no reason. So if I cheated on you and I did something to hurt you, and then it's like, well, I did it because, and I explain it or whatever the case is, and then it's like, well, you're like, oh, okay, I accept it, but you're mad and you have this anger or contentment or whatever it is that you're holding on to that now you can't talk about because you accepted an apology that you really don't accept. You accepted an apology that maybe you needed some time. And so I guess what I'm getting at, without, becoming very long-winded, I'm trying to not step on toes. And I don't like that when I do that. And I tend to do that whenever I start talking. It gets really I got to get comfortable with like telling people real shit. And so I never know who's listening. And so I don't want to, I'm still in a place in my mind where making people mad is not really where I'm at, because I know that my responses and my mouth is vulgar. I have the ability to chew someone up and spit them out with my words, and whether I'm cursing or not, I can still do that. Now, I do curse a lot, but we have to be mindful of what we say and what we do to other people. But more importantly, you have to be mindful to what you say and what you do to yourself. I don't accept apologies just because you said sorry. That's just not me. I don't feel like I should. I don't feel like if you say sorry and I look at I look at the situation from your point of view, what you give me, and then I'm gonna look at the situation from my point of view. So if you come to me and you say, that happened, Meca, I'm sorry, I can't guarantee that when you say sorry that day that I'm gonna be like, okay, I accept your apology. I may, however, say, I understand, or I get it, or no problem. Because a lot of times when I get into a situation personally where apologies are necessary, it is sometimes for me in a place where we're not going to ever deal on that level again. It's kind of like you never get a second chance to make a first impression. For me, I've stopped giving people seconds and third chances to hurt me or to mess me up. And so while I may still, if I have to, on a lot of levels, deal with someone, how I deal with them changes and adjusts based on situations that happened with us prior. And I think that that's a human thing. And for me, I went through so much of my life just for forgiving and even forgetting, just because I understood after I began to understand the power of me just forgiving. So I'm going to spend the time and forgive when necessary for me, for my growth, for my health. But I'm also going to make it clear that I have questions, that I may have a question a month from now that I didn't think about at the time when we were in a heated argument. That should be something that's able to happen. So however you and your important people in your life deal with it, it needs to be understood that your apology, when you're ready to apologize, should not necessarily mean that I should always have to accept it. And vice versa. If I'm ready to accept an apology or even apologize or forgive you, if I'm ready to forgive someone, I don't feel like it's my place to be like, I forgive you. You know what I'm saying? Now, no, forgive them. You should be able to forgive somebody even for the fuckery that they did that they haven't apologized for. These are personal things. These are personal situations, things that you have to go through. Stop accepting apologies that you don't really accept. Stop giving apologies that you don't really mean just because you want to smooth it out. Sometimes lots of conversation needs to happen. Sometimes feelings need to be gone through and sought after. And sometimes dialect needs to happen multiple times before an apology is given or received. And so while I don't think I went into as deep of it as I wanted to, I just need to get that initial notice out there that apologies are meant when things are completed or smoothed over, or when I'm ready to apologize, I say sorry and I explain and I express, and you are able to not accept it without me being upset with you not accepting it. Some people apologize for themselves. They apologize because they feel like, if I apologize and she accepts it, now we cool. Everything is back good. And that's not necessarily the case. You know, accepting an apology becomes like an immediate response. Kind of like when people say, I love you, and you love them. Y'all love each other, and it's like one person says, I love you, and your immediate response is, I love you too. That's not that. I mean, you may not want to say it right now. That may not be where you at. Don't tell someone you love them just so you can hear them say it back. People do that at the end of a phone call, like, I love you, and then they wait. Okay, you know, I guess there's certain things that I feel that are very different from other people. It doesn't mean that I don't love you. It just means that you're not gonna bully me into saying I love you because you're trying to figure out where I'm at or whatever the case is. And now that's a whole nother, you know, mental psychological perspective that needs to be addressed. But saying things that you don't mean when you don't mean them should be like one of your basic cores. When you realize the value in your words, you become more selective about the words you choose. You become more specific about what you say and what you don't say to people. You know, you find yourself, you find yourself noticing and realizing things that you should notice and realize. And so I'm just saying, get yourself to a place where when you accept an apology, when someone apologizes to you, you either make sure that there's an open dialogue that can happen later, so that if you have more questions or there are things that's going on, that you can talk about this thing later, whatever the thing is. And if you are the one accepting an apology, it is because, one, you really accept that apology, or no, I'm cool. You're okay. It's okay, but it's not okay. And we will talk about this and we will have a dialogue, and, you know, this will move forward. And I think that's really it. You know, I don't want to kind of become redundant. That gets me very annoyed when I do it to myself, and I find myself I'm doing it now. But just be mindful of what you say to people. Be mindful of how you say it. Be mindful of what you accept from people. You know, apologies usually come when somebody did something wrong. Even when it's you. You know, be mindful, like, yo, am I really sorry? You know, I may mean what I said, but maybe not how, I don't want to say how you took it, but how I said it. You know, there's a lot of things you can say in your tone, in the choice of words, that if you said it in a different way, you know, you really meant what you said, but you didn't mean for it to come off that way. Now that I'll say, I didn't mean for you to take it like that. I didn't mean for my words to do that, to make you feel that way, because that may not have been my intention. I didn't intend for you to get upset with what I had to say, but it needed to be said. There used to be a saying that I used to follow, that if it was, let me see. It was, what I think is like true. Oh shit, I don't even remember the exact words. But anyway, if it was necessary, you know, if it was true, necessary, and like it was mandatory to say. And so no, now I don't do that. Now it doesn't have to be true, necessary, or mandatory. It's more like, whether or not I feel like it needs to be said. I no longer hold things in that I feel like I should be saying to somebody, but I also don't on purpose hurt people's feelings. So there's a balance that I had to find within myself, that I may not, a lot of things for me is, I don't say things to people unless they ask, because a lot of things that I say is going to be real and to the point, and it may hurt somebody's feelings. And while I don't intend to hurt your feelings, if you want to know something honest and truth, and I can help you with it, I'm going to do that. And sometimes we are put in uncomfortable situations because of that. But anyway, stop saying things you don't mean. Stop accepting apologies that you don't really want to accept. And just find yourself a balance within yourself and the people who you love and care about, so that there's always a dialogue that's available to be open, you know, between you and everyone, so that you're not finding yourself bottling in certain things in certain situations, and you're not removing yourself because now you don't know how to deal. So that's it. Anyway, have a great day. Always stay boss built. Keep that mental mind frame that you are in charge of your life. You are in charge of the things that goes on with you. And you are the only one who can make something really shake with you. You're the only one that can make it happen. You know, it's on nobody else to do that. You know, boss built is your mind. You know, you got to make sure that every day, you know, you're waking up and you're doing the things and performing the actions that keep you processing forward in the places that you want to. And when you do that, and when you're capable of doing that, you grow, and nobody else is going to matter, whether they are doing better than you or doing worse than you or equal to you. You're going to make sure, and I'm talking about just in whatever things matter, whatever statuses matter to you, because money isn't everything. You know, there are so many other ways to be successful, so many other ways to prosper and grow. And a lot of us are out here, you know, like I said, money is great. I make a lot of money, but I don't do a lot of things that I do for money. I do it just because I enjoy the feeling that I get from somebody saying, I enjoy somebody telling me, Meca, that stood out to me. Somebody saying that I appreciate those words or something like that. And the things that come with it and that I attract from it are an addition. You know, the paychecks are a plus. You know, and I mean, of course, I need them because that's what we live on. We are on a monetary system. But Boss Built is making sure my mind is on point, that I'm always giving you the best of me. You know, and so that's it. Enough for the rambling. Have a great day. Blah, blah, blah. Like, follow, subscribe, whatever. Peace.